This is Roy Rome recording on April 2nd, 2019. Ace, what do you have for us?
Well, apparently you'd like to hear some of the stories of my life.
I would.
I can bring up an incidence of medical attention in the Army or in the Army Air Corps. It seems to me that sometime as I was going through the initial part of entering the flying school, I happened to have a toothache.
And so this is 1942 or 3?
This would be 43.
43, okay. You got a toothache.
And I just kind of rode with it for a while, but eventually it got that it was visible on my jaw that something was wrong. And I decided I'd report it to my superior officers at the time. And they sent me to a military dental clinic.
So you went up to them and said, I've got a sore tooth? And they said, well, yeah, sure. It looks like you do, yeah?
Well, it turned out that it was an abscess tooth. Yeah. And it needed some attention. So I went to the Army dental facility, and it was a wooden shack consisting of a single row of a house.
So where was this?
This, I think, was in, I think this was in Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville, huh?
Yeah. And I sat in a chair, a dental chair, and waited and waited as they usually have to do in the Army. Finally, a dental officer came in wearing the usual white gown.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But this individual was accompanied by 6 or 7 other people. And they all gathered around me, and the dentist kind of explained to everybody, including his patient, me, indicating that this was an abscess tooth. And will probably need some invasive treatment.
Right.
He said, now, what we usually do in cases like this, we try to numb the jaw.
Right. Yeah.
And we numb the jaw, and then he held up a hypodermic needle that looked like one of those things that you...
right, inject a horse.
That you use around windows to make you to exclude...
The caulk gun, yes.
And he explained, well, this is the way you do it. He said you hold this cheek open and you insert the needle in these various locations. And I'm sitting there with my eyes rolling, wondering when he's going to do it.
Right.
And so when he finished his explanation how to do it, he said, okay, who wants to try? And then I realized that
it was
this was a class
teaching,
of some kind. And
who wants to try it?
I was going to get my first injection in my jaw by somebody who had never done it before.
Well, they've got to have a first time, right, Dad?
Well, so at that point, I was resolved that I'm a little bit of a practice individual.
Yes, keep going.
And so finally he picked out one individual to try it. And so he approached me with this big hypodermic needle sort of thing. And I need to relate to the fact that this was at an Army base outside of Nashville.
Uh-huh.
And it was a temporary base. And it was in a field, somewhat in a field. And at that time, a tractor with a lawnmower cutting the grass just came by. And about the time that the fellow pulled my jaw down
Right.
and tried to insert the needle, this lawnmower came by with this loud noise.
That make it better or worse?
And that was it. Well, eventually the problem was solved, and my bad tooth was taken care of. The other one that I can relate to a medical condition was in Louisiana, and it occurred a couple of days after the dropping of the atomic bomb.
Right.
And apparently I had done a little bit of over-celebrating
Okay.
at the officers' club,
It happens, right?
knowing that the war was over.
Yep.
And that I would be able to be facing some kind of an uncertain future.
Right.
So my over-celebration, I guess, resulted in a very bad upset stomach,
Yes, yes.
which was not exactly like a normal stomach ache. It was such that they sent me to the Air Base Hospital.
Okay.
And I spent a couple of days there trying to settle it down. And it wasn't working too well, whatever treatment they were giving me. I never really did find out whether it was an ulcer or something of that nature. So they said they're going to send me to a larger hospital
Okay.
in Alexandria, Louisiana, which was probably some 20 miles away, because the base I was at was out in the pine tree country, sand and swamps and
Yes.
not much else. So they loaded me onto a gurney,
Uh-huh.
dressed in my hospital gown, you know
Right.
what those are like. Everybody's had that experience. And loaded the gurney in the back of a Air Base ambulance, which was more or less like a pickup truck that was
Right.
covered. And off we went. The driver, an enlisted person who was to follow me and take me to the hospital. And we started driving, and we were going down these sandy roads
Yes.
through the pine forest. And all of a sudden, the road got a little bit bad,
Right.
and the ambulance got stuck
Oh, no.
in the sandy rut and in the
Right.
low area. Well, the wheels spun and ground, and we got deeper and deeper in the sandy road. And finally, the driver said, well, we're stuck and we need some pushing. He said, see if that attendant can push you out.
Right.
And so they tried, and all the time I'm laying on my back
Right.
in the gurney, covered up with this pickup truck, so-called ambulance. And we just couldn't get out.
Right.
So finally they said to me, could you help
Get out and push.
push? So I got off the gurney, and there I was, barefooted,
Sick.
in this army garb, which was a typical hospital gown, and I helped push the ambulance out of the rut and got it back on the road. Then they opened the back door of the ambulance, and I got in, laid back on the gurney.
And they took you to the.
They drove me to Alexandria. So,
And you lived to tell the tale.
yeah,